We're away. So, welcome everybody to LinkedIn for Breakfast. Fantastic to have you here. Apologies that I'm not in my normal setup. I'm just out and about at the moment. This is us. So, today's subject is around how to double your income and work half the time. And I've got a few different concepts that I'll be sharing with you guys. So, I'm super excited about doing so. Let me just use the share and give you our slides so we can give you a flavor for our mission and why we're actually here and why we can turn up and do these sessions. Um, our mission here at LinkedIn for Breakfast is essentially to help you unlock the full power of LinkedIn, the world's largest business network for both brand expansion, so that's kind of more people getting to know you, as well as lead generation. So that's the game plan for it. And we basically want to make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. So that's our mantra, that's our game plan. Now, every now and again, we kind of look at the more overarching view of what your plan is, why you do this, what's the whole purpose behind doing this whole growing your business piece. And that's very much the case today. So that's the game plan that we'll be going through. Excited to share a few things with you. And we're going to try and tailor it because it's a good time to start thinking about this stuff ahead of 2026, which I can't believe is just around the corner. Unbelievable, hey? So if you are not yet, then you must have been sleeping under a rock because we got this amazing free community linked to for breakfast. And this slide here says there's 2.3 thousand members, but actually we have now over 5,000 members in this group. And I think Flora probably has put the link to join this. Oh, hello. I've unshared, my fault. Link to join this group here. So free group. So if you're watching this on the replay, just Google LinkedIn for breakfast. But Flora, I believe, yes, so there she is. She's put the link into it there. There's the link there to join this group. Just literally go in and answer a couple of the questions, and you'll be as right as rain. And in here, there's a load of things. So, for example, we have an engagement pod. Look at this, 700 people engaged on this post that was 21 hours ago. And ultimately, what we're doing here is everybody's adding a link to their piece of content, and then people are going to like it and comment, and in exchange, I will like and comment on your stuff, and you'll like and comment on other people's stuff, and they'll like and comment on your stuff. And so by the end of it, we're hoping that we're seeing nice posts like this example here from Peter. Great post. He's done well. He's got really nice carousel. And then, of course, we as a community, look at this 67 comments, repost, likes. We've as a community given him a leg up, as you can see straight away from here. And then that leg up in terms of reach will then snowball into other places. And so that, if we can give your post a bit of a kind of jump start, then other people will see it and that gives you credibility. So that's kind of the I scratch your back, you scratch mine type mentality of this group. So if you're not part of it, get part of it. It's great. Great. But today's subject is around how to double your income and work half the time. So let's get into that. This is the game plan. Second part, we're going to take some questions. So first part, I'm going to kind of rant for about 15 minutes, no longer than that, about how to do this. And then afterwards, I'd love to get a bit more feeling and conversation from you guys, a bit of feedback, and also any ideas and tips that you might have. And we should finish for about quarter two. So this quote is I've always loved from Alice in the Wonderland Land because she tumbles around the rabbit hole. She doesn't really know which way to go. And we all tumble down the rabbit hole of growing our own business, don't we? And we think, well, which road am I going to take? And she comes across the Cheshire Cat here. And the Cheshire Cat smiling down with a big grin goes, well, where are you going? And she goes, well, I don't know. And then the Cheshire Cat goes, well, it doesn't matter. If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. And this is what I feel business is like, because if we don't have a plan, then we can carry on doing a little bit of social media over here. We can have a little bit of a play with TikTok, and then we can go and do a little bit of stuff on LinkedIn. And we can kind of think, well, have you had one of those days where you feel like you've done a lot, but you don't really know what you got done? And business is like that. You can spend years where you do a lot, but you don't really get anywhere. And so we need to make sure we're not lost amongst Alice's forest of shiny things. And actually, we have a plan. And today is about helping you to get a plan that really resonates, makes sense, a plan for 2026 that you're actually going to hit. So if we're going to double your income and work half the time, we need to know what that plan is, what that target is. And then we need to know what do we need to reach it, right? So how much do we need to sell to reach that plan? And then we've got to think about how do we optimize your time to make sure you achieve it? And then finally, how do you get the leads? Because the leads are the thing that starts. So if you get enough inquiries of people that might want to work with you, then I feel that everything else looks after itself because you start to ebb and flow and make it all work after that. So what's the target? And I want to give you this spreadsheet that's in here. So I'm going to put a resource into the chat here. So if you just click on this and have this open on a different tab as we're talking, this will really help because on here is a recording of a session that I've done before like this, and also a resource link to the spreadsheet that we're going to go through. And it's really just thinking about next year. What is it? If we scroll down to here, what is the plan? Where is the target we're going to? So if we can access this Google Sheet template, which is around your target income goal, right? And you'll get onto a spreadsheet that looks like this. Now, I want you all to go, and it doesn't have to be now, it could be after this call, but I want you to go to File and make a copy of this and copy it and actually have this as your target lifestyle and business income goals. And you make a copy of this spreadsheet. You're totally okay to do that. Don't try and ask to join it because obviously I don't want everybody editing the same spreadsheet. Otherwise, it'd be a complete mess for everybody. Make your own copy of it. Now, what I've done within here is I've just listed down, and I know that it's going to be quite small for people, but I'm just going to I'll talk you through it. I've listed down all the different things that you personally might spend money on, right? And so I've listed them down like this, and I'm asking you to put down what your target by the end of 2026, what would you like to achieve, right? So it's not necessarily now, but by the end of 2026, what would you like? Okay. And so this is kind of putting down, well, actually, yeah, am I going to be part of a gym? Am I going to have a new car? Am I've got a new house? Whatever it is, right? Yeah, have I moved house and I've got a different rent? Whatever it is, put it down. Am I going to go on a 2 week family holiday? Have I got a 1 week winter break? Am I doing a mid-spring break and an autumn break, right? So list it all down. And then if they're one-off costs, add the one-off costs into it, right? So if you've got, say you want to go on a 2.5 grand spring break, great. If you're doing a big 10 grand sort of family summer holiday, add those in and then work out what the monthly, ultimately what we want to do is what's the monthly repayments for all of these. So there's lots of great apps. So we use Monzo. This is me personally. I use Monzo for my personal banking, and it allows me to have all these different pots. And what happens is that each month when money comes in, I can automatically assign the money into these different pots. So I may have a spring break pot. I may have a winter break pot. I may have a summer break pot. All of these things, when we are looking at one-off payments, can ultimately, these one-off payments can then be transitioned into monthly repayments. And then those monthly repayments, if we added them all up, will give us a target income that we need to get to after tax. So we look at it. So everything from even saving 10% towards investments, having some disposable income per month, all of those things, right? And you can add it in, and it may be more, it may be less. It doesn't really matter. It just should be yours because this is where we want to get to by the end of 2026. And so we want to make sure that this target is aspirational as well. We don't want to think in 12 months from now, you're going to be, kind of squeezing it out and trying to cut, make as many savings as possible. Make it aspirational, make it somewhere that you really want to get to. So some target that makes the time, blood, sweat, and years make sense when you're running this small business, because it is hard work running a small business. So you need to have good targets and things that you want to achieve, right? So make sure it's focused on that. But once we know what that figure is, then the whole point, this should educate what we should find out what our turnover needs to be for our business, right? So this is the second most important figure on here. So the important figure, first of all, is that what's the monthly revenue figure? So for me, I say for me, this is an old one that I did ages ago, but this was real numbers when I did it. £14,000 per month, right? So that's a target figure, right? After tax. So that's quite an important thing to remember. It has to be after tax, right? And so then the next thing is then what does the business need to make revenue wise to achieve that? Now, I believe if you're doing some sort of coaching, consulting, even agency model where you're still doing a lot of the work, which is many of the people that are on this call, then you should be able to take out after tax about 50% of the money from your business, right? And you use what's called the profit first method. So if you haven't read the book Profit First, put on your little kind of notes to go buy this, either the audio book or the actual physical book. Changed my life. Brilliant, brilliant. And the right, I always think that the right mentor appears at the right time in your business. And so for me, I was there was always too much month at the end of the money for my agency. And of course, I get paid last, right? So you don't pay yourself first, you always pay yourself last. Profit First teaches you to pay yourself first, and it also teaches you to run your business in a way that makes sense, to have these pots. And so, if we're thinking that we need to take 50% of income home personally after tax, then actually what it will teach you is to put all your money into the income account, right? So, so for example, for what I was just showing you there, if I'm going to have to take home, 10 to 15 grand tax free per month after tax into my account, then I'm going to obviously be over the VAT threshold, right? So if we actually think about income coming into a bank account, actually the income is 120% because it's 100% plus the 20% VAT, right? That's in the UK. Other locations may be different, but that's how it would work in the UK, right? And obviously similar in Europe. So what you want to do is you want to create a second bank account, which is your VAT account, and you want to siphon the 20% off straight away, right? You can automatically do that. I use a really good bank, and if anybody wants to, here's a super tip. If you want to make a saving, on things like using Zero, if you don't have an accounting software, etc. Metal, which is by NatWest, it's a free bank. It does automatic roundup. So if you get £120 into your bank account, it'll take the £20, put it straight into a VAT account. It's free, there's no monthly fees. And also, here's the cool thing, it gives you a copy of Free Agent, which is basically an accounting software. So it's sort of like a Zero challenger. Where is it? Free Agent here. So Metal. And if you sign up, you get a free copy of this Free Agent. So we did this. So we use Metal Bank Account for the UK business, and it has a free copy of Free Agent, which saves me about 50 quid a month on Zero, and also saves me my banking fees. I love it. Works really well. The only downside is you can't do international payments. I think that's the most important thing to mention. But for my UK company, that was fine in there. So yeah, really, really super tip. Anyway, there you go. So oh, and I think also if you sign up for that and you want a code from me, I can give you a code. You can get £50 for free, by the way, just by signing up to it. So just DM me if you want the metal code, and I can give you that and get £50 for free. Anyway, so once you're doing this, you put 120% into this account, it automatically takes 20% into the VAT account. Then we want to divide it into four separate pots, right? Because now we've got 100% clean in our income account. So the first pot you want to do is your what's called your OPEX, right? And so mass expands to the room you give it. So if you only allow 30% of your revenue to be sat in your operational expenses account, i.e., the expenses account that you pay for marketing, you pay for software, you pay for cost of sales, then you could only spend that much, which is beautiful because it means that if you overspend, then you will go, well, actually, where am I going to borrow the money from? Because I'm either going to borrow the money from the next account, which is tax, and you don't want to borrow it from the tax account. So say there's 15%, we always say put into a tax account. And I'll come back to why 15% in a second. So it's either going to borrow it from the tax account, but you need to pay tax. You're going to borrow it from the profit account. So profit account at 5%. So you're only doing showing a 5% profit, but that's okay because remember you're taking 50% out after tax personally, but this 5% is like a rainy day account just in case the proverbial hits the fan. You've got your sort of fallback amount, 5%. And then the final bit is what we call the owner's comp, right? Uh, and so the owner's comp is your 50%, right? So 50% plus 5% plus 15% plus 30% equals your 100%. Now, here's the cool thing. Why? So that's 50%. If you just took that straight out, then obviously you're going to be taxed and you'll be taxed at whatever tax rate that you'll get up to. So you wouldn't actually get 50% out clean. But the beauty of this system is that you only pay in the UK, you pay 25% when you get over a certain level on corp tax, right? Which you're crawling through here, but this is 15% of entire revenue, right? So the entire revenue. So in theory, because you're doing 50% in profit, actually what that means is that tax here at 15% works out to be double because you're only showing a 50% profit. Stay with me here, but ultimately that means it's 30%. So you'll have an extra 5% from here because you're going to take 25% out and you've got that extra 5% because remember, this is double because this is turnover. We make showing 50% profit, right? So it works, trust me. So that 5% you can pay as an extra dividend to yourself to pay your personal income tax, right? But also, here's the second thing, your VAT, you're not paying all 20% to the VAT man because you are also reclaiming some of the VAT that you're paying on the OPEX. Because if you pay for anything that has VAT added to it, so you go and buy a laptop, there's VAT on it. You go out to a restaurant, there's VAT on it. Whatever expenses that you can put through the OPEX accounts, you can reclaim that VAT. So actually, you would probably be having a bit of an excess. Is around about I tend to find mine is 13% as opposed to 20%. So just on average. So I have a 7% out of this that is excess on this VAT. Now remember, the VAT is 20% of your entire revenue already. So that 7% is actually a significant number. So that 5% plus that 7% actually works out to be a decent enough figure to make a huge chunk in your tax bill, because obviously being self-employed, you do your income tax at the end of the year. The beauty of this is that money stays into this account, waiting for that, and this money stays into this account. So you don't go rob Peter to pay Paul. You keep them into these accounts. So it's a nice way of saving up for your end of year tax return and having it there for the end of year. It works, guys. You'll have to just work the system to understand the system, but please trust me, this will be gold stuff, gold dust. If you can get this system working for you in 2026, one, you won't overspend. Two, you will save for your end of year tax return. And three, you will take far more home personally because you're going to pay yourself first. Oh, ultimately, you're not really paying yourself first. You're paying everybody first because everybody gets automatically transferred into pots and you don't rob those pots to pay other pots. Those pots have definite structure line to say no more. So if you don't have enough money in your OPEX to pay your suppliers, you'll just have to do agreements with your suppliers. You don't go raid money from the tax man or raid money from your rainy day account or raid money from your owner's comp. The only one that you can raid from is your profit, but ultimately it is there for when it's really a massive problem. And you don't plunder this account unless you can do negotiations and deals with your suppliers to be able to do better payment terms. And if you still can't do that, then that's your fallback. That's your plan B, but only if you really need to. Okay. Does that make sense, gang? Do we like that? In the comments, just let me know yes or no. Is that making sense? And if you give me a PF if you've tried Profit First before. So yes or no. Yes, great logic. I like it. Give us a PF if anybody is PF. Fantastic. Candy, great. That's great. Mm, good. So we got some good. Dalton, Vivian, thank you. Perfect. Sue, great. Excellent. So we're making some sense here, Diana. Lovely. Welcome. So let's come and head on back. So this is the kind of the game plan for it. So let's head back to our income targets, right? So now what we want to do, so we kind of know now where we're going to, and so how we can take the money out. So now what we want to do is work out, well, actually, what do I need to sell and how do I do it? So what I want to do here is when you start to fill this out, let me just make this a little bit bigger for everyone. So when we start to fill this out, we want to think about, well, actually, how many sales do we need to make to be able to hit this revenue target? And this is where we want to help you to kind of dispel the myth a little bit of where you're trying to go to, right? So if you think, well, actually, blooming heck, this is quite a lot of money I've got to get to. Well, my hope is, because obviously I talk about the $1 million sprint, for this example here, to have 14 grand after tax to hit all these lovely personal things is actually only need to turn over to I only need personally £168,000 per year, which obviously seems a lot. But if I double that, then I need £336,000 a year annual turnover of the business. So instead of $1 million sprint, it's actually a £336,803.04 sprint, which suddenly feels like a far better, more thought through number, doesn't it? And so that means that my business only needs to make 28 grand a month in revenue. Now that feels like a far better, more thoughtful number, right? It feels like a bigger thing to achieve than 84K a year to hit a million in revenue. It's 28K. Sorry, 84K a month to hit a million revenue. It's 28K a month, which is still a fair chunk, right? I understand that, but it's actually approachable. It's probably just out of reach, right? And so now we've got a real set of figures that we're going for that mean something. I think that's half the battle in business is that we need to really know why these numbers mean something. So when we think about how many sales do we need, we then look at, well, what's the value of one of your clients' 12-month average, right? So if you've got a client that might spend £1,000 a month for 3 months, then their 12-month average is 3 grand, right? If you've got a client that, for example, might buy, and I've just given an example here, this example on a 3K product for 6 months, that 50% roll onto the second 6 months, right? So what I'm saying here is that if you have a 3 grand coaching product, it gives them 6 months access to your coaching, or a 3 grand agency product or whatever it is, they get 6 months for 3 grand. And then half of them go on and do a second 6 months for 3 grand. That means your average client lifetime is actually, or 12-month value is 4.5 grand, because that's 3 grand plus half of the 3 grand for the 6 month, because half the people roll onto it. So my 4.5 grand is the 12-month average value. So if I sold this, right, what we're trying to do is remember, get up to these figures by the end of the year. So you're at 14 grand a month run rate this November, December 2026, right? And so 4.5 grand. So how many of those would I need to sell per week? Well, actually, what we're doing is we're dividing the revenue target that we need to get to per month by 4, which ultimately means that we only need to make 1.5 sales, 1.56 sales per week to be able to achieve the 6.24 sales that we need per month to get up to the 74 sales for the year. Why 74 sales? Well, basically what this is us working out the monthly figure. So we go monthly figure. So we're saying basically the turnover 28K divided by the 4.5 grand means that we need to get 6 sales a month to achieve that. And if we can get 6 sales a month to achieve that, then boom, or 6 new clients over the course of the year by the time that they spend out. So by the time that we get to the end of 2026, you'll be achieving these revenue figures, right? Makes sense? So that means it's only 1.5 sales per week. That's got to be manageable, right? We've got to be able to make 3 sales every 2 weeks. Surely we've got a product that can do that. So then we go, well, actually, how many demos do I need? Now, what do I mean by demos? Well, demos is where you've actually been able to show your product, your service to someone, right? A little bit like a software demo. But in our coaching or business services world, you probably had to show them a slide deck. You probably had to go and present to them the sales, the actual investment figure. You've done a sales pitch, right? So that's what I mean by a demo. And so if you had, so my team have a 1 in 3 ratio for closing, right? So one in three sales, one in three makes a sale. So that's what we look at. And in fact, actually, I can show you this. It's so spot on, strangely. So this is a dashboard. So we're not talking about dashboards today, but just to let you know, I've been talking about dashboards and social media. Many of you would have seen. This is our CEO dashboard for November. And if I show you our sales figure, so these are new business close rates. And if I go around to the average for the month, our target was 33% and we hit 34.37%, right? So that is over the course of 35 sales. We made 35 sales last month, and it meant that we did a 34.37% close rate, right? So we're bang on that close rate, and you can be bang on that close rate as well because most people get three quotes, don't they? From suppliers. So they see three people before they're making a decision. And so all you want to be is one of those three. And then you want to close one in those three people that get three people there, right? So you're not even having to achieve better than average. You just need to be average and achieve one in three people buy from you. Okay. So it all logically makes sense. So one in three. So we need three demos to make one sale, which means to make 1.5 sales, we need 4.68. These are going to be very now, but 4.5 demos means that we're going to make 1.5 sales, right? And so, so that means we need 18 demos per month, and it means we need to have 224 sales meetings per year. Okay, but here's the thing, my pedigree chums: not everybody turns up to these meetings, do they? Right? And I want you to fill these in. And you can use our ratios as a great guideline, right? But I want you to fill these in for your business. So in 2026, you know what you're trying to target, right? So you think, well, how many bookings do I need? Well, I know for every 4 people that book a sales appointment with us, 3 people show up. So we have a 3 in 4 turn up rate because obviously people rearrange, people, the dog's got ill, we've got to do the school run, whatever it is, I forgot. Some people don't make it to the meeting, right? And that's fine. That's life. But if it's life, we can still work in a way where we can actually make sense of it, put it into numbers. And if we can put it into numbers, then we can actually make sure we manage it. So we don't get upset when someone doesn't show up to the meeting because we're like, well, that's great. One person hasn't shown up. It means that my next three on average, someone they're going to show up, right? And if they don't, then that tells you that there's a problem there, right? There's a problem that we need to solve, right? So this is the bookings thing. So if I know 1.33, which means that we need to achieve around about 6 people booking onto our demo per week. If we know we can get 6 people on our demos per week, then that's the target. We just have to get 6 bookings. We have to work out how we can get those 6 bookings, 24 of them in a month. So if we know that, then we can work out how many leads do we need to get a booking. Can you see how we're going? So you got leads, you got bookings, you got show ups, you got sales, right? So that's the kind of the flow. And actually, what I'd show you here before we go on to bookings is if I just get rid of all this. You have like hoppers. I always think business is like this, right? It is a set of hoppers, and you've got to just work out. It's the classic pipeline, but I always feel like they're these little buckets, right? So one is leads, another one is bookings, another one is show ups, another one is sales, right? And so you've got to get people to hop from each one of these, and you've got to fill it up enough until eventually it gets to this stage where they hop in, right? So if we know we need 5 leads to be able to get into here, to be able to get 1 booking, then we know we've got to push 5 in because then we get 1 booking. And then we've also got to go from here, we've got to put 4 bookings in to get 1 sale that goes through to here. So you can see how they kind of hop from hop. But the thing is, what happens is if we get up to 30 leads going to here, but nothing is going across, then we have a deficiency that goes from leads to bookings. So what we've got to think about is that can we change the way that we talk to our leads and make the bookings. Instead of asking for a strategy session, can we make it a value session that's more excited? Can we offer to give a free resource when people book into one of our sessions? Can we give people a free, instead of just saying, do you want to talk about buying my stuff? Can we do, for example, for us, we do a free LinkedIn profile audit. So we will audit your LinkedIn profile for free. And at the end, we'll show you how we might be able to work for you if you feel it's of value. So it means that we get far more bookings. So you've got these little assets that help to transition people from one hopper to another. Same with getting people to actually show up. We say, well, actually, the people that show up get a free copy of these things, but also there's other technical things. So to make sure people show up, we make sure we send an SMS to remind people about it. We make sure we send 3 emails to remind people to show up to the booking. We might send them a WhatsApp, because these are all the things that we can add in to make sure that we've got that for 3 people out of 4 bookings actually go in, show up. And then when we think about show up, then what's the things that make people buy? Well, we need to make sure that we've got a really nice PowerPoint presentation. Maybe we make sure we've got a good offer. Maybe sure we got a discount or a special offer, a quick action bonus for people to make a decision, right? So if you're not closing enough deals, then you need to think about these type of assets to make sure more people are buying from you. So each thing, there's never anything broken. It just means that you haven't built enough assets on each of these bridges. You haven't put enough of those stones in, and the bridge is crumbling, and not enough people are going cross from each bucket to another. So that's what business is, and you've got to build out those things. Cool. But first of all, you need to know where you're getting enough leads in, right? So this is our total leads coming in. So if we know we need 5 leads for every booking, that means we're going to need 30 leads a week, which means we need 124 leads per month. So suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm not getting enough. I'm not getting enough leads. I don't even know what a lead is. I'm not that you don't know what a lead is, but I'm not tracking my leads. I'm certainly not thinking about it in this way. And so this is why these numbers will set you free, gang. It's super, super important to know them, because then you can move them. Once you know what they are, you can move them. So where are you going to get those leads from? So from my perspective, we look at it this way, is that we look at everything else and what we're doing in terms of organic, and then we pay for ads to top up, right? So if I think about things like cold email or LinkedIn outreach or organic social or warming up emails, it really can help, right? So if I know that I'm doing some LinkedIn connection requests and some DMings and I'm getting, say, 6 leads a week, great. I can put that figure in. If I know I've got a cold email software that's working, like a Lemlist or a Sales Handy, and that's going out and just doing cold email out to people, great. Or if I've got a VA that's actually helping me to do all this stuff, great, that can work, right? So if you can start to put all this stuff together, and then once you know that, say, organically, you're making sort of 19 leads, then you can go and work on paid ads to be able to top up, right? And so sometimes organically, it can work really well. So for example, if I show you my LinkedIn organic, I might have a post. If I just show you kind of, say, the past 365 days on my post. So I've had 1.2 million people see my stuff over the last year. And if I look at, say, the second best one with 146,000 people going there, this is people asking for a free AI bot that I've created, right? A free AI tool. And so ultimately what this means is that people are saying yes, and I'll send it over. I had 1,500 comments on this, and those comments are people saying yes, 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 yes. So these are free organic leads, right? So these are organic leads that I can go and message, connect with. I can log them as leads, and I can pursue those leads into offering them my sales meeting or my value session, right? And so this then really helps me, because if I know that um, I'm only looking for how many leads per week, 34 leads in total per week. Well, I just got 1,500. So how many weeks worth of leads is that, right? So you can get one hit on your social and completely smash your leads target, but many people will not have a CRM to document those leads, will not have a process to follow them up, will not even have thought about actually asking people to comment the word yes, may have just put a link to an external post where they can download it using a form and didn't realize that by doing an outbound link in a LinkedIn post means that you're going to get far less reach in a LinkedIn post and far less engagement and far less leads. And so all of those things, by not knowing that, means that the same post, if I linked to a landing page where they did a form submission to try and get leads that way, would have got, 10% of the leads that I got through doing that. And having a VA to go and do the messaging and the DMing and connecting and messaging with those people, all of that created a whole bubble of opportunity. And that bubble of opportunity was the thing that I was able to then use to generate those leads and that momentum, right? So once we know what the figure is, we can get really excited about trying to do things like a two-step post that works like this. And in fact, gang, I've done recently an AI. Do I have the link to that? Oh, look at this, gang. If you don't know what that two-step post is, I'm this is me being too nice to you guys. So let me share this. So there's a video here. It's a free video you guys can have a look at. And there's also a link here to this page. Oh, perfect. This is even better, right? Here is a, oh no, what happened there? Okay, perfect. Good. Whew. I thought it was broken then. So here is me talking about this two-step social media post generator, which works exactly like this post that I just showed you here, and talks you through how to do it and gives you a swipe file of successful two-step posts. So let me open up in this link here. So here's examples of two-step posts that I've created and links to them on LinkedIn so you can see it, and the DMs that I send out to people once they do actually do it. Plus, this gives you a link to an AI tool that you go and answer the questions in here, and it will then create a two-step post for you. Plus, there's a full training on how to do this two-step post. God, ain't I great? So here you go. Right. So have a play with this, right? So this will really help you to generate those leads, right? So that's the lead generation side for you. The next piece we want to think about is then really understanding what you're going to pay for this, right? So now we know what we're going to do leads wise. We know how we're generating those leads and where we're going to get those leads from. And if you don't have some of these things, just put in the places that you currently do get leads from. If you do physical networking, if you go to BNI or for networking, whatever it is, and you pay for a £10 breakfast every morning and you get, a lead every meeting or whatever it is, add that in, because we're also going to go down here and then add in the cost of it, right? And so here we're going to look at this and go, well, actually, if I've got a VA that's working on email and outreach and social media for me, what I can do is I can then put the cost of that person and I can divide that by 33%, right? So I might go and say, well, that person is costing me, say, £400 a month or £500, whatever it is per month. I can take that figure, I can divide it by 3 because they're running on 3 channels. And then that means that I can have an accumulated cost per lead per month. So it's how much it's going to cost me per month. And then I've got the cost of lead per week. And so this means is, well, how much it's going to cost me per week. And then a cost per actual lead. Because what I'm doing is I'm dividing the cost of that by how many leads are being generated per week, right? So if I'm getting 4 leads from cold email, then it's costing me £7.29 a lead because I've got my VA working a third of their time on that, right? And so that gives me a cost per lead. But the reason why we do this is because to achieve, so this is kind of the punchline, right? And this is kind of meta ads. So if you're getting £4 a lead or meta ads, etc., you built out some ads. The punchline is this: you could be spending to achieve the leads that we've got here. So real figures, right? To achieve 34 leads per month based upon these organic figures, which are the figures that I've genuinely put in. I've produced this a while ago because, as you can see, we're now doing over 800 leads and we've got a number of sales guys, etc. So we're bigger than this now. But this was when we didn't have all those things, which is why it's a useful one to show you guys. The whole point of this is per week, it's only £155 that's being spent across a VA plus ads. Now that's exciting because it means per month I'm spending only £620. And if I'm only sending £620, that is 15% of just one sale. 15% of one sale. If you lock this in, my pedigree chums, you could be spending just £620 a month to be able to achieve personally 1,000, so 14 grand after tax in your business. In 2026, December, this time next year, you could be spending 600 odd pounds per month and be taking home personally £14,000 after tax. Look in it. It will not be there straight away. It will take graft, it will take hard work, and you won't get it right the first time. You won't get it right the second time. But by the 12th month of doing this and tracking it, because what gets measured gets improved, the dashboard sets you free, my friends. By the 12th month, these are genuine figures that you could achieve by that 12th month. And so it's just about knowing what the figures are, locking it in, seeing the type of stuff that I'm putting out about the CEO dashboard, looking at things like a CEO dashboard. And actually, I put this out as a template recently. This is our genuine dashboard that we're working. We do it every single month. And so we look at things such as revenue, we look at things like success, marketing, sales, accounting, people and culture. Like these are the genuine things that we track every single month because what gets measured gets improved. And we then deliver against those ratios. And it all started off with a lifestyle goal because it's if you are a small business and it's you or maybe you and a few VAs or you and a business partner, if you can make it personal that all of this time and energy goes into this, then every investment in marketing means a outcome personally for you, then 2026 will be a beautiful place. And I'm going to be doing so much more on this tracking and dashboard stuff in 2026. And I'm going to invite people to join us on that journey as well. So, whew, quite a lot there, my friends. Hey, quite a lot there. I guess the big thing is I'm going to open up for questions, but I guess the big thing is, and some of you would have seen it. I'm closing down this Black Friday offer, by the way. So we probably have. I shouldn't really be sharing this with you because I don't know. I don't know if we're going to actually be able to try. Let's try. Let's try. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It says two spaces left there, but I'm not sure. The reason why I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to put a link into here. If you want a VA from us who understands the system, can do this LinkedIn stuff, can do the cold email stuff, can do the help with the marketing stuff, all the bits you saw in terms of lead generation, that's an information doc around it. Now, I know it's like, oh, Rich is saying that he's only got two spaces. These are people that we go through our training academy to be able to actually get them in. This is not the $1 million sprint program, by the way, gang. This is just a VA only offer for people to be able to get their virtual assistant for half a day, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, every single week, working for you, trained on our systems, using our templates to be able to help you to be able to achieve this. So if you're interested in that, do it. I'm going to come with a caveat, right? You may pay the deposit and we may have to refund you if you're not fast enough to be able to take one of those last remaining spaces, because obviously we only have a few people coming through our training academy that we train first before releasing them to clients. So if you are interested, I'd love to be able to do it. Now, people are asking about, can you tell me more about $1 Million Sprint? The answer is that we're full in $1 Million Sprint. And so I can't tell you anymore, but in January, we will be doing an intake, right? So in January, we'll be doing a new intake of $1 Million Sprint clients, and we'll be doing we're revamping the $1 Million Sprint library for anybody who's sprinters on here all around the dashboards. So we're going to be tracking dashboards every single week for everybody, the whole of 2026. So $1 Million Sprinters who are on the journey with us is all going to be very much what's your dashboard, how's it going? And I'm going to be reviewing everybody's dashboard personally every single week. And also for new people coming aboard, you can't do a $1 Million Sprint at the moment. It's full, but in January, we're going to be doing a cohort intake, and we're going to take intakes once a month next year. So you'll have to be quick. So if you miss it, you'll have to wait until February. So look out for that, but we're not going to do any more on that for now. Cool. So slightly over, but I'm going to open it up to questions now, gang. Into the room. Who's got questions? Thoughts, or even just shares? Um, Sarah says, very insightful, but I'm not sure this meeting was for what I joined it for. This was the double your income work half the time session, right? Is Flora going to tell me I've just presented a completely different one to what I should have done? No, she's giving me thumbs up. Right. We've done that before, haven't we, Flora? That I've turned up and just presented a completely different presentation. That's hilarious. Hopefully that helps. I know it's it's a bit different. It's not LinkedIn, I'll give you that. It had a bit of LinkedIn there, I hope. Okay. So any further questions? Yes. Andrea.
Hi there. Nice to meet you.
Andrea, sorry, Andrea, yeah.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for that. I can see how it works. I'm just like trying to imagine it in the context of my own business and the service offering that I have. And I
Hmm.
suppose it is a numbers game, but at the same time, it's slightly less of a numbers game in that my customer group is very niche and there are less of them, and it's a much longer sell. And I'm talking about slightly bigger numbers as well. So the conversion and the nurturing of that conversion can take a really long time.
Yeah.
I have one of your VAs. She's brilliant. She's helping me at the moment. We're only about a month in. Um, but I'm just like everything you've just said is all percolating, and I'm just thinking, I mean, it would
Mm.
be lovely to be in a position where we're talking hundreds of thousands and not thousands, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, um, the whole point of it is that every niche, every market still has a set of numbers. So, how many good opportunities would you need? So, how many meetings with new potential opportunities would you need to make one sale?
It's such a great question, and I actually don't know. But yeah, your conversions of around three do feel right. But then at the same time, I have sometimes been on a pitch drive and done three and got down to the final two and then didn't win them. And
So,
often feedback is because it's just me and a very small team, and they like to go with a
mm,
bigger organization because they feel like that adds more value. So I'm a bit
just
limited by that.
remember, so my sales guys are like locked in, they're great, but it means that two out of the three people they meet, they won't sell. So
Yeah.
they are massively unsuccessful if you really think about it. So they're only a third successful in their job of being able to sell. And me too, right? I'm exactly the same ratio. So two out of the three people tell me no. So we are all expecting no's. Like there's a great book called Go for No, which sorry for the punchline, but ultimately it's a book telling you that you want to not sell anything as many times as possible because obviously then the sales do come. So if I want to not sell twice because I know then the third one will be sell. And it doesn't always work like that. So I might get two sales in a row and then I might have a complete dry spout of like four no's, right? So it's weird how it works. And also you might need one in five. That's cool. We've got a sprinter who's got one in 10. Now I think that they could probably refine a bit better, but their current ratio is one in 10. And so that's great. That's what we're going to work on to be able to then achieve 10 meetings. Now he sells his products 12 grand for each sale that he makes, but that's fine because, he's happy to do 10 meetings to make 12 grand. So that's kind of, you just got to know, you got to make, and if you don't know it, make a hypothesis and use my figures as a good starting point. So if we know that one in three works, what is the average order size for one of your clients?
Well, so this is the thing. Yeah, let's just say it was 15 grand for ease. I'm just realizing though that I'll only then pitch three times a year. That's the issue. I need to
Do
be
you only
pitching
want to
more
do you only want
frequently.
to make yeah, so you only want to make three do you only want three clients in a year?
That's what I probably personally have capacity for in terms of the delivery, because each program is quite intensive and there might be 20, 25 people on each, right?
Great.
Um, but
And
I've
you're
got
happy with a 45K target for the year, which is no problem. Like I'm
it's
just
what
saying
I've
that
been
you
doing, but no, I want in the hundreds for sure, and then to build a team to do the delivery.
great, right? So the only way you can build a team to do delivery is by having stuff to deliver. And so it all starts with making sales, and then human beings are great, right? So when it's all going crazy and you're like, oh my God, I got too much work, you will start working on getting people to help you to do the work. Because you start fighting fires. Like business is all about professional firefighting, right?
Mm.
And so you just start to deal with the problem that's around, right? So, oh my God, I'm so successful at this sales stuff. I need to now get really good at building a team and delivering the stuff. And then suddenly the team gets great at delivering it. Then you're like, oh my God, I need to get back on the sales stuff. And then before you know it, you just become a salesperson. And then you go, oh, I need some salespeople to do this. And then before you know it, you become a sales manager. And then before you know it, you become a business owner. And you no longer work in the business, you're working on the business 100% of the time. And that's just how it works, but you've
Mm.
got to get to that problem first. So I would probably say then you work backwards. So how do you get 3 meetings as quickly as possible in your business? That's when you then look at the leads. So what does a lead look like and how many of them do you need to make one meeting?
Mm.
So what does a lead
What
look
we're
like?
doing at the moment, yeah. So a lead would be somebody that works in learning and development in a corporate firm. And they will be looking to develop talent and have probably 100 grand plus budget per year to develop a range of senior, mid, and junior talent through programs.
Right. So what do those people want to learn, educate themselves on, are intrigued by, are, you know, curious by? What are the things that's in their world that, stops them from scrolling?
Yeah, and this is the sweet spot that we target. So yes, it's leadership development, but it comes with social and environmental impact, both learning and awareness of, but then also it has social impact attached to it. So they get to mentor a social entrepreneur as part of the leadership program. So it's quite niche, but very
Yeah,
cool.
that's okay. But so what information do they consume around that?
That's well, if that's what you meant, that's a really great question, and it is one that I'm spending a lot of time thinking about at the moment. I honestly don't know, but I'm looking at awards events, B Corpsy type stuff, those that have sustainability credentials or are spending money on CSR, that kind of thing.
Great. So then who has that audience already? Who already, is talking to that audience and um, is successful at building a database of that audience?
That is a really great question, and I'm a bit concerned that I don't know the answer to it.
Obviously, the awards
Yeah.
companies. Any kind of, do these companies have lunch and learns? Do they have professional development that they've got to do? Do when they doom scroll, what stops them from doom scrolling? Is there ebooks downloads? Is there, influencers within that market? Get curious there.
I
That's
give
what
a
I would
shout out
say.
about this.
Go on
Yes,
then,
please
Camilla.
do.
Yeah, so I'm a
Camilla.
B Corp consultant, so I'm already so I'm talking to B Corps.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
Here's someone straight away.
there are B
Go for it.
locals in every area of the country, where all B Corps hang out. So I look after the Gloucestershire B local, for example.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, so if you sign up to your local B local, you can physically go along and meet all the B Corps. Which area of the country are you in?
Devon.
Devon, yeah. So I know the Devon co-chairs. Devon and Cornwall are one of the most active bee locals in the country.
And just to reassure me, because I've perhaps created this idea in my head that the B Corps are probably not spending on programs like this and don't have the budgets for it. So my targets tend to be more at the corporate end with, 500, 1,000 plus employees and global branches.
Well, you can go for the bigger B Corps, which there are quite a few now.
Yeah.
There are a few in Oxford. There will be a few in Cornwall. Finisterre's down there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so there are some, yeah, go for the bigger B Corps. And there's a B Corp directory which you can search by size of business.
I
Great.
love it. This is great. So here we go. So it's about curiosity, right? And Camilla, thank you so much. Because it's about curiosity and asking the questions and reaching out to the right people. Because suddenly we now are going, right, I can, there's sort of half an in level of interest there. There's something there. So then you tumble down that rabbit hole and try and generate leads from there. And it's all about testing, because you're not going to be at that level January. You're trying to be at that level in December. And everything else is going to be a test throughout that to be able to build the momentum up to this. So that's the whole plan of this. So Andrea, this is awesome. And I hope that everybody else can see this is a great example of going, well, I need 3 meetings, and therefore I need to get some leads that will book those meetings. And so therefore, where are those leads? And let's do something around that. And actually, in theory, you only need to be able to achieve the target you thought you had, 45K. You only need 9 meetings in the whole year to be able to do that. And so that creates a really intriguing conundrum, that if you could get those 9 meetings in the first quarter of next year, then actually you got the whole of the rest of the year to be able to beat that ratio and to be able to get another 9 meeting, and then another 9 meetings a quarter, and then before you know, 19 meetings a quarter, and then bam, the rest is history, right? It all started today. Love it. So on that note, it's 1 minute to go until I've got my next call. So I'm going to love you all. Thank you so much from Dubai. And I'll see you back in the UK next week for another LinkedIn for Breakfast, or see you hopefully inside one of our kickoff sessions. So do remember the offer. Just if you haven't got this, by the way, this document I put in the chat, just click on it, open it into a new tab, and just read it, because some of that might help you to be able to grow with the help of one of our VAs. All right, gang. Big love. Take care. And I'll see you on the flip side. Cheers all.